Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Draw Control podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by junior on the Holy Cross women's lacrosse team, Racheli Levy Smith. In her lacrosse career, Racheli has played in 26 games and currently has 4 goals, 33 ground balls, 21 caused turnovers, and 112 draw controls. Racheli has earned a Patriot League academic honor roll, was a Patriot League academic honor roll member, as well as recently playing in the U20 World Championships in Hong Kong. I'm super excited to have her on the podcast today. So, welcome to the Draw Control podcast, Racheli, and how is everything going?
It's going pretty well. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, obviously you had a quite the summer based on what I was seeing, but how was your summer both on and off the field? Did you do anything interesting? Obviously, we're going to talk about the World Championships, but I guess outside of that, anything interesting that you did this summer?
So I kind of, besides traveling to Hong Kong, I also went to Portugal and played with the Israel women's national team. And we won silver in the Euro Cup, which was pretty cool. So I actually spent my almost my entire summer playing lacrosse. Since I'd been home. I was home for about I would say 3 weeks. I was working. I worked two jobs, and then I left to Israel to train with the women's national team, and then we went to Portugal. And ever since, I've been playing lacrosse. So here I am back at school playing lacrosse again.
Nice, nice. Well, this fall ball it probably feels like a little bit of a break, even though you're playing some games every week. It's not like the other every day like those tournaments seem to be like.
Yeah, so fall ball is a little bit of a break, even though we have certain kind of like hour weeks. So right now we're in 8 hour weeks, and then we'll go into 20-hour weeks and then 22 and then back down again. But we do have like scrimmages against specific teams on the weekends, but not every single weekend. So we have a little bit of a break, which is nice.
That's awesome. How was Portugal? Never been there before, so
It's beautiful. It's a really, really beautiful country. I spent about, I would say, maybe a week and a half there, and we played 8 games. And I went to Braga, Portugal, is where the tournament was held. And I went on a boat. I went anywhere I could go. I got my brother's gifts, so it was pretty cool actually. I'd never been to Portugal before, and it was beautiful.
now, obviously, a lot of your teammates are probably training and doing their off-season routines to get ready for the upcoming season. But since you were preparing for the World Ch Championships, I'm curious, sort of, what were some things you did this summer with those other teams to sort of get ready for fall ball in the upcoming season?
So, I take the draw, so I worked a lot with draw work, and specifically I worked with Canada during the championships. And they have a player who played on Canada, and she took the draw for them. So that was pretty cool. I got to learn from her, and I learned a lot. And um I'm a defender, so I played midfield for these past two tournaments. And so I've gotten back into that offensive and defensive work instead of just defense. So I'm a little bit more confident now in my offense than I was before. So I've got a little bit of like everything going on now. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen this next season and where um I'll be placed. So
Yeah. What's your secret on the draw control circle? I don't want you to reveal all your secrets in case any opponents are listening to this, but any sort of insight on that area of your game would be really interesting to hear.
Winning the dig. So, the ball is placed wherever in our sticks, and whoever gets there faster is kind of the way that it goes in the draw. And digging is like a huge thing on the draw. Like as a draw specialist, you would know what I mean when I say that. So, you just got to be fast. Your wrist strength's got to be strong. Getting the ball in the air, you got to be one-handed, left-handed, right-handed. So I think it's all about just wrist strength and winning the dig. So
Now, you're obviously a junior this season, so have you thought about the type of leadership you want to bring towards the team? Would you consider yourself more of a vocal leader or lead by example type of player?
I think I'm a little bit of both, I would say. I know in the field, I have a huge role to play. Taking the draw is kind of like a game within the game, I would say. And it's always something that I've been improving on. And like always getting better at. So there's never, one and done where you've just done everything and you're the best at it. There's always a way to be better at it. And I communicate a lot with my teammates and on the field and off the field. I watched a lot of film. So I put a lot of time and effort into it. And I think that's one thing that I think bringing to the team is important. And yes, I am vocal on the field as I also am vocal in practice. I'm always cheering my teammates on. So I think just bringing that focus and determination is huge.
Now, I want to transition and sort of talk about the beginning of your lacrosse career and sort of work all the way up to where you are today. So you're from New Jersey, specifically Margate. So talk about growing up there and how'd you start playing lacrosse?
So I started playing lacrosse when I was in third grade. I kind of got into this little Margate league we called Margate Riptides. And so it kind of consisted of just a bunch of parents teaching us how to play lacrosse. And I really loved it. I fell in love with it, and I asked my dad to get a rebounder for me and my brothers because we all started playing lacrosse. And I sat outside every single day for hours just hitting the rebounder every single day, just working on my left hand and my right hand. And I got really good at it and I loved it. And I never wanted to stop playing. And like that little town is like everybody's your neighbor. And it was fun to grow up there and play lacrosse there. And I have friends for life in Margate. So and they all come to my games and they watch my games. So it's a great community.
And growing up, who were some of your favorite lacrosse players and teams that you like to watch?
I would say my favorite lacrosse player is Taylor Cummings. I watched her since I started playing lacrosse in Maryland. I'm a huge fan of Maryland and I'm a huge fan of Taylor Cummings. And I always loved the way that she played. She took the draw. She was a midfielder. She was everywhere on the field. And, she's kind of like, she changed the game of lacrosse a lot. And I mean, she's retired now, but she's one of the best lacrosse players in the country. And I've always looked up to her. And I think she's a great lacrosse player.
Now, before college, you played for your high school at Ocean City High School. Talk about your lacrosse experience there, what you took away from it, and what's like your favorite memory from your high school lacrosse days when you look back on it now.
I think high school was a little bit different for me because of COVID. So I had a year and a half of lacrosse kind of taken away from me and the rest of my teammates, and I had 2 years of varsity under my belt. So I think what I really took away from that was just kind of being grateful and appreciative that I was able to step on the field and play lacrosse. And I think playing at Ocean City it was honestly a great experience. And all of my friends now and at least in high school, they all text me now and they watch my games and they're very supportive and I love every single one of them. And I think um my favorite memory at Ocean City High School was my last game home, which was the quarterfinal for the South Jersey sectional. And we played Clearview High School, and the whole school came, everybody's parents came, the Margate community came because they taught us how to play lacrosse. And so it was a very memorable game because we ended up winning and we made it to the semifinal. But I think that might have been my favorite memory playing at Ocean City High School because it was my senior game, it was my last home game, and um, I think that was very memorable for me.
Now, you played club lacrosse for South Jersey Select. How did your club lacrosse experience sort of help prepare you for college lacrosse with Holy Cross?
Um, so I used to play for a different club team, South Shore, but I ended up moving to South Jersey Select because it was a little bit more competitive and had a little bit more connections. And the girls that I was playing with and playing against was at a way higher level. And it kind of pushed me to be better and push like the other girls around me to be better. And I think that competitiveness and that like high level of lacrosse was something that like really helped me and um helped me take lacrosse to the next level and take my career to the next level.
And you also played field hockey and basketball in high school as well. How did those sports sort of help you in lacrosse?
I loved field hockey and I loved basketball and I still play them to this day, just with my friends. But I think like you do work at something for so long, but sometimes it's good to take a break from it. And I think field hockey and basketball was a great like thing for me to do. Like I love sports. I grew up with sports around me, and I think field hockey was one of my favorite sports to play. I played with I had a great coach in high school, and field hockey was it got me very conditioned and like and very strong, and basketball was more of like a footwork agility kind of thing. So putting it together like that helped me with lacrosse as well. So yeah, I do miss playing basketball and field hockey on teams, but um yeah, those were very, very fun to experience in high school, and I still play them now. So
Yeah, I know the defense in basketball translates very well to lacrosse from what I've
yes.
been told from other players. Now, talk a little about your recruiting process to Holy Cross. What was that like for yourself, and what made you want to go there versus the schools you might have looked at?
So, I had a couple of different offers from different schools. Holy Cross was the first school that I visited. And I was a little bit surprised because I liked it a lot, and I was like, I like it a little too much. Like maybe I should visit the other schools and see if I like them better. And I did, and I didn't like them as much. So, the recruiting process is always a little bit stressful, and I think you hold yourself to very high like standards when you're getting recruited. But I think like my head coach now, she made it very not stressful for me, and she did a good job, and I'm very lucky and fortunate to have been recruited here because I love my coaching staff and I love my coaches, and they're very supportive, and I think I made the right decision to come here. So yeah, it's a beautiful campus. It's great campus life, so I'm happy that I chose Holy Cross.
Now, what was like the biggest adjustment you had to make to college lacrosse as a freshman once you first stepped on campus as an athlete?
I think college and high school are just completely different ball games. Like I never really expected it, and I was very excited to experience it, but I never really expected it. And I think I had to adjust my expectations a little bit and kind of not be so hard on myself because it's a little bit of a mental game when you go to college than versus high school. So and I think at one point I treated it as like a job, but it's not a job, it's a sport that like I love and that I enjoy very much. So I think adjusting like my perspective and not, trying to always be perfect because lacrosse is never perfect, and that's the whole point. It shouldn't be perfect. So I kind of had to adjust like my views on it, and it's it's a lot better now than freshman year. And I think like going into school that everyone should know that you shouldn't like want to be perfect or strive to be perfect. And I think that's like the biggest thing that I took away from my freshman year.
Now you get to play in the Patriot League. I think it's a very underrated conference with teams like yourself, Loyola, BU, and Navy. So what's it like being a part of that conference and just the competition you face each game?
Yeah, so it's great competition for us. I think we always look forward to playing Navy and Army and Loyola and BU and all those great programs with great players. And I think that's something that we always strive, like, we always want to be better. And I think our team, we believe in, working together as a team, and we work very hard. And I think playing those teams, like it is a privilege, and like it's a great opportunity for us to win, and like we want to win and we want to beat those big teams, and it's just very competitive. And I think that's like why we want to showcase like why we play and why and why we do it. So
Now, obviously, you go to a really good academic university. So how have you learned to balance both lacrosse and academics at such a high level?
honestly, I'm still learning. Like I'm always trying to manage my time a little bit better. I think I never really recognized how demanding it is, school and lacrosse at such a high level. And like this school expects so much out of the student athletes, and um it's always an adjustment each semester, but it's so rewarding. It teaches you so much, and you can apply it to your daily life, like time management and specifically responsibility. So I think it's always something that I'm improving with each semester that I come back here, but it's very demanding, but it's also very rewarding.
Now, what do you think's been the biggest improvement you've made to your game since your freshman year? Because looking at the statistics, you've obviously gone to more games as a sophomore, and obviously the statistics show specifically on the draw control side.
Yeah, so I took the draw in high school, but coming to college, I've learned a lot more about it. My freshman year, I didn't play. I got in a couple of games as an attacking flyer, and I ended up becoming a draw specialist and a defender. So, I think going into my sophomore year, I really wanted to step on the field, and I made it a goal to step on the field. So I worked really hard in the summer and in the fall to get that opportunity. And I think um the draw especially is something that I've always wanted to be better at. And I think I played a huge role this past sophomore season in the draw and also on defense. And they kind of what they were kind of figuring out where to put me because they wanted me to play. They just didn't know where to put me. And then they finally put me at draw and defense. And it's it kind of went guns blazing a little bit because I worked really hard for it. And honestly, I never really expected it. And I'm always like taken aback when my coach says, "You're on the draw today," even though I've taken the draw in the
Yeah.
past. So I think it's honestly a privilege to be able to step on the field and play, and that's always been my dream, just to play in a Division 1 game wherever I am on the field. And I think not taking the draw freshman year and then taking it every single game my sophomore year is I never expected it, and it's a dream, and I'm always learning, and I'm always involving my coaches and how to get better at it, and they do the same for me. So I think it's always just a game within the game, to be honest.
Now, what's been your favorite memory with Holy Cross so far?
My Definitely my most favorite memory was the quarterfinal against Colgate at home. We hadn't hosted a quarterfinal game since I think 2014, and the whole school went, and it was a huge opportunity for us to win and get to the semifinal in the Patriot League. And we ended up winning, and it was such an awesome, awesome game. And Colgate played a great game, and we played a great game. And I think that might have been my favorite memory because we made it to the semifinal because my freshman year, you know, we I think we didn't do so well in the Patriot League, and then we made it to the semifinal the next year. So I think that was definitely my most memorable and favorite memory in at Holy Cross so far. So
Now, what are your team's goals and expectations for next season, looking at it from your perspective?
I mean, definitely making it to the championship and winning the Patriot League. I mean, that's always the goal, and like that's the dream, just to win the chip. And like I think if we can definitely achieve it. I believe in our team, and I definitely believe that we can make it that far and we can win. And I think if we work really hard and we work together and we go together, I think we can win the Patriot League. And it's always a rocky path, but you know, if you work really hard and you play together and you go with your team with everything, I think that's kind of the goal in that for our next season. So
Now, what do you want to see yourself individually accomplish next season?
honestly, like definitely the draw because it's always something to improve with. And um I think hopefully I can do even better than I did last year with the draw, and have my teammates trust in me more than last year on the draw. So I think that'll be something that I definitely want to accomplish. And I think, you know, because I was a defender, I think definitely, being more aggressive and being more active on defense, and just being a downright determined, aggressive defensive player. So I think that's definitely what will elevate my game a little bit more.
Now, let's go on and talk about the U20 World Championships that you got to participate in a couple of weeks ago. Talk about your experience of being a part of that tournament, representing Israel, and how'd you get that opportunity? I'm just curious about that.
It was definitely a dream come true. I think I never really thought that I'd get that opportunity to play in the World Championships, especially with Israel, since I am Jewish and my mom is from Israel. So I never really thought that I got to or get to play on such an amazing team. And I think people don't really realize the kind of extent of what that tournament meant to people and women's lacrosse in general around the world. And I think the teams that we played against, it was just there was so much camaraderie, and like we all knew that like growing the game was the most important part. And I met the most amazing players, the most amazing girls, and they just had never been more grateful to just step on the field and wear the jersey that represented the country that they were in. And I think especially for me, like I definitely appreciated that I got to wear Israel lacrosse jersey and the number that I get to play at school too. So I think it was definitely something that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and definitely like a great story to tell my friends. And it was honestly a dream come true that I was able to play in Hong Kong. So
Yeah, what was it like being in Hong Kong? Because I saw that you got to help out like the younger players, who
yeah.
like around the area, which seemed pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's like New York times 10. Like the city is beautiful. The food is amazing. I am obsessed with dumplings and noodles now because I mean that was what I ate every single day. It was awesome. But yes, we did visit a school and we kind of taught kids how to play lacrosse, and we talked with them, and we actually had them come. Almost half the school went to our last game against Chinese Taipei, which was really cool. They were in a little section of the bleachers, so that was pretty cool. But Hong Kong it's beautiful. It's very hot there. It's very humid. So
Hmm.
I was playing in the heat, and that was definitely a challenge. But yeah, it was beautiful there, and I wish I could go back. But
Oh
it
yeah.
was awesome.
How long was that flight?
12 hours.
Oh wow. I don't know if I could do that, to be honest with you. Going on like a 6 hour flight is long for me, so 12
Yeah,
hours is, I don't know how I'd handle that. Probably try to
yeah.
sleep through most of it, I guess.
The time difference was crazy.
Yeah, how long does that take to adjust to? Like 2 days, probably.
No, a lot longer. You would think 2 days, but it definitely took me about a week and a half to adjust back to the US calendar, because I went from Israel to Portugal to back to Israel and then to Hong Kong and then back to the US straight away.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was a
Well,
little bit of an adjustment.
oh yeah, I can imagine that. So, but it's, I guess time difference is pretty crazy. I guess that's the way I look at it, but it is an aspect that I think people sometimes forget about.
Yeah.
So let's move on to a segment I like to call the non-lacrosse segment, where I ask you some non-lacrosse questions to get to know you a little bit more off the field.
Mhm.
First one is, if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
This one this is a hard question because I do love a lot of the women actors nowadays, but I think I would pick Anne Hathaway
Hmm.
because I think she's an amazing actor. I've always loved her. I love her personality. I think she's similar. I think I'm similar to her, but I think she would do a good job.
That's a good answer. Big fan of the Princess Diaries. So, for me, probably just, I don't know. I feel like Tom Holland would be cool. I like the Spider-Man movies, so I'd go with him.
Nice.
Now, speaking of your team, which player on the Holy Cross Women's Lacrosse team has the best style off the field?
So, do you mean like clothing wise
Yeah,
or
yeah, like who comes to practice with like the best fits and all that stuff.
okay. I would definitely say Ella Kittredge. She is a senior in our team. She's definitely got some good style. She's always got some good fits on every single day. Even her lounge fits look good. So she is definitely one of the stylish players on our team.
Now, if you could play with any professional sports team, which team would you pick?
Um, I think I would definitely pick Eagles.
Okay.
Like I'm a fan of the Eagles, but
Okay.
now that I'm watching, like that I'm here in Boston, definitely the Bruins.
Oh, that's my answer. I like that one
Yeah,
a lot. I'm a big hockey
I
fan, so
yeah. So I've gotten into them a little bit more, and I really enjoy watching them play. So I think I would pick the Bruins.
that's a good answer. That's usually the answer I always give for that question. So, And then last non-lacrosse question for you is which place in Worcester has the best food?
Oh, okay. This is easy. The Fix. It's like a burger restaurant and they have the best burgers I've ever had.
Okay, that's
10 out
that's
of
good.
10. If you're ever in Worcester and you want a burger, it's The Fix.
All right then. All right then. Good shout out to them. So, getting back to a few lacrosse questions now before we end this interview. My last one really was what should be done to help grow women's lacrosse? Obviously, you've been traveling around the world, sort of helping grow the game. So I'm curious from your perspective, what you think should be done to help grow the sport of lacrosse.
Um, I think like media is a huge thing. Like nowadays, especially, everybody's on the internet, and I think lacrosse, especially women's lacrosse, is not advertised enough. And I think advocating for women athletes, especially lacrosse, is like it's very important. And I think advertising that and like showcasing you know, that the women's sport is just as hard, if not harder than the men's lacrosse. So I think that is something that needs to be improved upon a little bit more. And I think like going to clinics and making clinics is something super important. Like going with Israel Lacrosse and their organization. I've been to so many clinics around the country in Israel, teaching kids how to play lacrosse and growing the game a little bit more. And I've seen a lot and I know a lot to say that it's something that we should improve upon. And I think it's really important to, grow the game a little bit more.
Well, do you have any shout outs you want to give to any of your teammates, family members, and friends? And who should we have on the podcast next?
I would definitely shout out my family and my parents. They're huge supporters and I love them very much. They're always have my back. Definitely shout out to my coaches. The most supporting coaches I've ever had. They always have my back with everything. My head coach actually visited me in Hong Kong and she, watched me play in a couple of games and she flew all the way there. And I think that's something really important is to have good relationships with your coaches and that was super important to me and I'm extremely grateful for that. Definitely shout out to my old coaches back in Margate and so they're awesome for teaching me how to play lacrosse and I wouldn't be here without them. I think next on the podcast is someone who I met in the tournament. Her name's Maddie Epke. She plays at James Madison University, and I took the draw against her, and she is very good. She's very, very good, and she's someone that I think would be really cool to interview. I think she's very good at the draw. She puts a lot of time into it, and I can tell just from the way that she plays that she really cares about the game. And I had a conversation with her after because I played US in Hong Kong. So that was a really, really cool experience. And I got to talk to her and kind of learn a little bit more about the draw. And I think she'd be a great, great fit for this kind of thing that you're doing. So
Well, Racheli, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time here today and coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I think you're a great person. I think you're a great player, and I wish you all the best for next season. I know you're going to do great, and congratulations on the silver medal as well.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. It's awesome. Such a great opportunity for me. Thank you very much.